All right, so welcome to the. Let me put it right there so I can get my friend AC. He's gonna be here in a little bit. All right, so I'm hearing some names here that are being thrown. Uh, so I've been looking for some of the news lately. I haven't heard anything. I've been out for a little bit of the internet, so I don't know if you can tell me actually something I don't know. Um, why are people talking about Laker fans um, against Andrew Drummond? I don't know what's going on. Whoever thinks we don't need a guy like that, I understand that he's not the shot blocker that many people. I think he. Me.
Hey, bro, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, I can hear you. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Oh, give me a second for it to turn on the camera, man. Let me get situated here.
Okay. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good today, brother. But hold on. Don't come in here until I call you. Sorry about that, man. The kids. Okay, bro. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. I got a new hat because the other one, I lost it.
Oh yeah.
I, I lost it doing DoorDash.
Oh yeah. I saw that. You said that in your other video.
All right. All
Um.
right. Yeah.
So
So
what's
my
up, man?
wife.
What's first on the agenda today?
Okay. Um, let's. I want to talk about Andrew Drummond to the Lakers. If that, how is that looking right now? I don't know if any news or anything the Lakers done uh, in the last 2 days because I've been out of the loop basically. But uh, and I heard something on Twitter, people that were against getting Drummond or something like that, or that they were gonna turn on him or something. So I don't know what's happened, if anything, or it's just people saying that that will happen if he doesn't become a Laker, or I don't know. I don't know. I know Aldrich was going to sign with, I think with the Nets. Was it?
Well, when the rumor started, the rumors were that from what I heard, the rumors were that Aldrich was going to go to the Heat,
Uh-huh.
and the word about Drummond on the Lakers has been pretty, excuse me, been pretty consistent all week. You know,
Mhm.
the reports were coming in all week that he was going to lean towards the Lakers, and it wasn't until what's today, Sunday. So when he was officially bought out, then I heard, oh, he's going to meet with the Clippers and the Knicks and some of these other teams.
Oh, okay.
So he had meetings. Drummond had meetings with several teams, and also the Boston Celtics. But
I don't think the Clippers can give him more than what the what the Lakers can give him, but New York can offer him a multi-year contract, which uh, that would be the only threat. But if he wants to win a championship, New York is not the place.
no, not right now. Um, uh, and also, I was surprised. I was under I was under the impression that this is pretty much going to be a 1 year thing with Andre Drummond, and because the Lakers wouldn't have money, they don't have his bird rights. But now I'm hearing that oh yeah, they could retain him
Uh-huh.
next season, but it probably would be at a reduced salary. And I don't know if he wants to give up money, man. But we'll worry about that. Definitely we'll worry about that in the off season. But overall, it's a great addition, man. A great addition. The Lakers,
Yeah,
they actually addressed one of their needs.
yeah,
Via the buyout market. That's not. They addressed one of their needs, probably their biggest need,
yeah.
and they were able to get the best available player. So I don't see how anybody could, I don't see how anybody could question the move or say anything negative about it.
This guy can put consistently 20 points per game. So we got three guys who average around 20 points per game that are not. I know that Schroeder is not doing that well on that department, but still he is defensively he's really good and he does a lot of good things. But Drummond would put so much pressure on the defense because now you have a guy like Drummond right now, and you have a guy like if Drummond, I'm talking like if Drummond were already signed with the
Mm-hmm.
Lakers, you would have Drummond and at this moment Montrez, right? You got those two guys who can play either center or power forwards if it needs to be. And you have Gasol. But in the playoffs, you're going to add to this group AD and LeBron. So the points in the paint are gonna come from everywhere around the paint. And that will free the shooters because everybody's talking about the Lakers shooting being bad, but you remember at the beginning of the year where the Lakers were number one in the whole uh, um, standing, and
Mm-hmm.
one of the things was that the shooting of the Lakers was around 40% or more. It was really, really good 3-point shooting from the Lakers, and then it went down.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't think people get about that is that when you are playing against a good shooting team, you try to take away their shooting. And with a guy like Marc Gasol, that he is offensively, he's a lot better from outside. And you don't have LeBron in, you don't have AD in. Um, the only real pain is Montrez for the talking as I were the coach of the other team playing the
Mm-hmm.
Lakers. The only threat I have in the paint is Montrez, offensively talking. But but I prefer the Lakers to beat me with that than to beat me from the 3-point line.
Right.
Because the Lakers, when they are good on the 3-pointers, they usually win the game.
Right.
So if I'm a coach of the other team, I'll always attack that. And I think that one of the things that people don't understand about the Lakers right now is that the defensive strategy is to make the Lakers defend and shoot from the paint.
True threes. Yeah, that's. I think
Instead
right
of,
now the 3-pointers, the threes are, that's probably their Achilles heel right now. But even going back to last season, I mean it's pretty much the same players, and the Lakers were hot and cold. They were pretty much
yeah,
hot and cold from
yeah,
three. So and unless they unless they go acquire
yeah.
a 3-point shooter, but for the final roster spot, you
Uh-huh.
know, uh, you know, it is what it is. The guys, sometimes they're
Mhm.
kind of, because you remember like when the bubble started in the seeding games, the Lakers were terrible. The
Mhm.
shooting was terrible, but then when the playoffs started, you know, um, they heated up, and they were pretty good from three.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well,
I
I
I
think
suspect they'll add a shooter. If the guy who I want them to get is Wayne Ellington. If for some reason he requests a buyout from Detroit, and if he requests a buyout and the Lakers are able to acquire Wayne Ellington, that would be a very solid pickup for the Lakers as far as a shooter is concerned. But
yeah,
yeah, I tend to think that they'll just kind of roll with what they have and take their
yeah.
chances. But we'll see.
Uh, One thing that I want to say is, and I appreciate every Laker that is playing right now. I appreciate Montrez and Schroeder because they are awesome. Um, but I'm gonna say this. I think that I am one of the I'm not like passionate about what I'm gonna say, but I think because I said it before all these changes, I thought the Lakers should have stayed with the group they had last year because not because they won the championship, but because they won the championship with a team that was assembled that same year. So in what I want to, what I'm referring to is this: if this team doesn't look that great in the season, but they win the championship again, let's not change much of it because if we would have had Danny Green this year, we would have like right now. I know there are fans thinking maybe we would have kept Danny Green because now he's 3-point shooting is
Mhm.
back.
I was thinking that. I was thinking that myself, bro. I'm like, man, you
So
know, with the Lakers, with the Laker fans, would you rather have Danny Green back or have Dennis Schroeder? I know I wasn't the only one thinking that. Now, go ahead.
and that's the thing. I mean, if they would have uh Danny Green and Rondo, because Rondo, you know, wasn't that good on this in the season, but in the playoffs he became playoff Rondo. And I heard that he's now going to, or he's already signing with Clippers.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Let me. Well, Okay, we could go through it. My opinion on Ray John Rondo going to the Clippers. Okay, Ray John Rondo, he really helped us. You know, a lot of people say, look, maybe he was the third best player on the Lakers last season. You know, in the playoffs. I don't necessarily agree with that, but did he help us? Oh yeah, he played a big part. He played
Yeah,
a big part in the championship run. But you know, these are two different situations. You know, I
and
hear
and
people.
and, and another thing is Schroeder. There's a reason why Schroeder is called a young Rondo
Right. You know,
because
he may
he
not he
started the game.
he may not have you know, he doesn't have the experience and of course he doesn't have the IQ of Ray John Rondo. But you know, how can you knock the Lakers replacing Ray John Rondo with a guy who's uh six man of the year candidate and damn near 10 years younger? I mean,
Hmm.
come on. I mean, come on. You know, it's not necessarily that the Lakers didn't want to keep Rondo, but Atlanta paid him $8 million.
Yeah,
The Lakers didn't have $8 million to pay Rajon Rondo. It's not necessarily they didn't want to keep Rondo. They didn't
yeah,
have $8 million to pay him. They didn't
yeah.
have, even though Dwight he ended up signing for the minimum, but
Hmm.
it's not that they didn't want to keep the white, but they
Yeah,
had other fish in the fryer that they wanted to tend to first. And
yeah.
the white got antsy and he jumped, at the first.
And and they were going to offer Dwight more than what he's getting now,
I
but
believe so.
Dwight just he just I don't know. He got desperate. He got desperate. I guess he was expecting the call a little sooner. I don't know what happened, but he would have gotten the call that same day. I think they actually tried to call him when because they didn't know
Hmm.
he already signed up with Philly.
Yeah, my understanding is Rob talked to Dwight's representatives and said, "Look, we want to keep you. We plan to keep you. Just relax." Rob may have not known that. Look, you may have the opportunity to get Montrez. Now, you can't really blame the Lakers of prioritizing Montrez over Dwight because he's a reigning, another six man of the year candidate, but much younger. But like I said, the reports were that Rob was calling Dwight's representatives and say, "Hey, we want to keep you. We want to keep you. We want to keep you. Just chill out." But
Uh-huh.
but Dwight got a little bit antsy and he bounced to Philly. So
Yeah.
it's not always that the Lakers want to get rid of these players. It's just situations happen, and everybody, they do what they think they need to do.
I, I
Uh,
I think also that Dwight is attainable next year if we want him because I think his contract is for this season only.
yeah, yeah, he's on a minimum contract for 1 year. So again,
Uh,
he could very easily come back on another 1 year deal. We'll see how
we can
things ends up this season with the Philly.
we can trade him for Costas. Really take Costas.
Man, hey, if you have a closest jersey, get it, keep it, seal it up because I can guarantee you this will be his last year with the Lakers. I can almost guarantee you that.
Yeah, I mean, unless he stays with the South Bay team,
Yeah,
that's the only way I can see him being a Laker of some sort.
yeah. I mean,
I
you're gonna
hope
you you're gonna give a player so many chances, man. Come on.
I hope the South Bay Lakers get Captain Hook. I
Yeah.
like that. I like that guy.
I think the last time I checked, because I checked, I think I saw that he was playing for somebody. He played for somebody in the G League.
Oh,
I can't remember what team. I want to say it was the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm not for sure, but he's still in the mix. We might end up seeing some of those players uh in the future because you know we'll deal with it when the time comes. But this off season is
mhm.
shaping up to be another crazy off season for the Lakers. We don't know what's going to happen in the playoffs, but the Lakers are going to have some big decisions to make this coming off season.
Yeah. Um, so on something else I want to talk about is this. Um, since I don't know why, but what I heard from Twitter, and I'm not saying that this is happening the way I'm going to say it, it's the way I heard it.
Hmm.
Apparently, was it somebody on the Nets, but I think it was KD. Maybe he wasn't, but I know some fans of the Nets have been complaining that because LeBron is the one behind getting Andrew Drummond and all that kind of stuff, kind of like insinuating that LeBron can't win without super teams and all that kind of stuff. If KD is saying that after being part of the Warriors, the Oklahoma City Thunders, when they were, they had three superstars. They just weren't recognized, all of them as superstars at the moment. One of them is now with the Nets. And you have a team like the Nets that people basically compare them to the Justice League. It's
Man, look,
filled with big names. You can't complain that LeBron is making a super team when your team, every name is
if
considered either a star or a superstar. You know?
if you look at the mid 1980s Lakers team, one could argue that those were super teams, even the early 80s.
Hmm.
Uh, some of the Celtic teams you could argue was a super team. I think was it 2003 or 2004 Lakers.
Yeah.
They had three-peated, then they lost to San Antonio. Then they came back and added Gary Payton and Karl Malone, two Hall of Famers.
Hmm.
One could argue that's a super team. So people acting like this is something new.
This is something that
This
LeBron
is
made,
yeah,
right?
yeah. This is not something new, man. Houston Rockets, Hakeem Olajuwon, Scottie Pippen, Charles Barkley.
In the
What do
to
you call
go
that? What do you
to
call
go
that?
yeah, and to go further back, the Bill Russell Celtics, the backup center for Bill Russell was a guy who won. Uh, I think he won an MVP with the Lakers, and he became a Celtic after that. And that guy was sitting in the bench. That's how good that Celtics team was. They had an all-star sitting in the bench, and that's why they couldn't lose. That's why every time we faced them in the finals, they would win, right?
Right.
So
84, 85 Celtics. They had some guy. They already had Bird. They already had Parrish. They already had McHale, and they had some guy named Bill Walton.
oh
What
yeah.
what the hell? 82-ish Lakers. They already had Magic. They already had Kareem. They already had Jamal Wilkes. Oh, they get the number one draft pick, James Worthy.
Yeah.
So what? Anyway, this kind of stuff has been happening a long time.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, if if it it may be a little bit different because a lot of people think now that the players are behind it, but the general managers used to do the same damn thing
Yeah,
back in the day. You know,
yeah. I'm,
assembling these super teams.
I'm
Miami Heat,
curious. Oh,
Miami Heat, Miami Heat. They already had LeBron. They already had you know when they had the three players, LeBron James, the guy from Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and oh by the way, they add who's the guy from the not from the Clippers, from the Celtics. Uh he was shooting 30%, 40 over 40% from threes, and they had him from the Boston Celtics. Come on, man,
um,
Jesus Shuttlesworth. He played Jesus Shuttlesworth in the movie Do the Right Thing or whatever it was. You know who I'm talking about, man. The name
yeah.
escapes me, man. I've been drinking. I'm sorry. But so man,
Uh,
this kind of stuff has happened going all the way back to the '80s,
yeah,
man. So
yeah,
so
yeah,
these guys, they can miss me with that crap.
yeah. That's no, and if it comes like it's not convincing, anyways. But if you say, I don't know, Bradley Beal a few like a year ago, or when he didn't have anybody, if Bradley Beal says that, I would understand.
Yeah,
I wouldn't justify it. I would understand it, but but if it's KD saying that, he's like the less
yeah.
uh, guy to say that, because he had the Oklahoma City Thunder when had stars. Then he went to the Golden State Warriors, who were already packed.
They had once they
And,
had broken the record the previous year and won 73 games, and then he
and,
joins them.
and
I
he
mean,
joins them,
look, I haven't heard or I didn't read the comments.
and they get
Supposedly,
boogie.
right? Supposedly, so I can't really comment on it because I don't know what he said or what he didn't say, man. But the bottom line is this kind of stuff has been going on for
and and
forever.
the fans. I don't know about him, because that's what some people say. But I saw fans of the Nets talking about, you know, like the Lakers doing these super teams. Man, what do you have there?
The man going back to the '70s, the Lakers already had Jerry West. They already had Will Chamberlain. They already had Elgin Baylor, and then they go sign one of the best guards in the league, Gail Goodrich.
Uh-huh.
Look, that's going back too far. Most of these clowns, they don't even remember going back that far. So
Uh-huh.
that's stacking, and
Yeah.
that's going all the way back to the '70s.
Yeah.
So the notion that this is something new started by LeBron, that's people either one, they have a bad memory, or two, they just conveniently like to forget stuff like that. But I don't
Yeah.
forget stuff like that. And I'm not that
Yeah.
old, but I just remember,
Yeah.
you know?
And we are in the era where you can Google anything, you
Right,
know.
right.
But and then there was like this uh, Twitter fight, and some fans were bringing that that it's okay for the Nets to have this kind of team, but it wasn't okay for the Lakers to have CP3 and Kobe together. Uh,
Oh,
remember
man,
that?
they want to talk about competitive balance. Look, we know after what happened last year with the Flippers, just because you add a whole bunch of players, it doesn't guarantee anything.
Yeah,
Uh, the Nets, they're loaded, but guess what? Look, they can only play five players at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they can only play 5 players at a time, and they can't all shoot the ball at the same time. So
Exactly.
you could get all the players. I remember exactly at this time last year, they were saying about the Clippers, oh, they're just getting everybody. They're stacked.
Mm-hmm.
And look what happened.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it was going to happen with the Nets, because the Nets, they loaded. But look, they haven't even been playing together. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
KD, KD has been out just as long, if not longer. He's been out longer than LeBron, and he damn near been out longer than AD. So what's the story there? What you think you could just drop him in, and then they'll just waltz to the championship?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so, man. It takes time. They have to build chemistry. They have to play together. They have to get used to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, you know, the playoffs, that's a whole nother ball game. The playoffs are a whole nother ball game. This regular season stuff, really, it really doesn't mean anything. All you got to do with these type of teams, if you talk about the Lakers and you talk about the Nets, all they have to do is get into the playoffs, and then it's a whole nother ball game. It's a whole nother season. The season effectively starts over once the playoffs start. So I mean,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
it's really a waste of time talking about the regular season. To be honest with you,
it's yeah, yeah, yeah. It's and so in I heard both sides on the CP3 story. What the defense that David Stern had back then was that the league had to buy the Hornets,
the Hornets, yeah,
and so he voted uh, as representative of the Hornets
mm,
organization. The problem I have with that is that that to me doesn't justify it. That to me, what it points out is a conflict of interest
yeah.
because
Me personally, I don't know how you felt about it, but if I'm not mistaken, the trade was Paul Gasol and Lamar Odom, right? For
mhm,
Chris Paul, and I didn't like it because I'm like, you trading two bigs for a small. I mean,
mhm,
who knows what would have happened, but you know, that's a totally different situation. Like you said, the league had took the league had taken over the Hornets or whatever they were called back then. So I don't know, man. It didn't sound right. But look, I ain't never heard of no trade getting rescinded by the league since then.
mhm.
So the whole thing just kind of smells kind of fishy. But it is what it is. It's history. It is what it is.
Yeah,
Whatever. You know.
and that's the thing. I mean, it's not a good look, even if what they are saying is true, which I don't believe. Um, even and I'll tell you in a second why I don't believe that. Even if what they are saying it's true, it doesn't look good for the league or a representative of the league to represent a team and veto with his vote a transaction that didn't need to be vetoed in the first place. And that's the thing. The league hasn't done that since or before that, as far as I know.
Yeah, that was
So
kind of a unique situation. The only reason why me and you are concerned about it because it involved the Lakers, but that was a unique situation, and like you said, it was kind of unheard of. Um, I don't really know what to make of it, man. We can't,
Mm.
we can't, we
And
can't go back in time and change history, but
well,
the whole
well,
situation was weird.
this is. I remember, and I'll tell you now why I believe it's not true what they are saying. I believe that since the end of the 80s, all the way down to that moment, one of the biggest complaints of most fans outside of, obviously outside of LA, were that the Lakers were going to the finals almost every year. But the fact that the Lakers are a big market, not just for basketball, but for a lot of things like commercials and all that kind of stuff for players and all that other stuff, that is not a problem either of the league or of the owners of the Lakers. You know that they have that hand for to negotiate. It's not uh, their fault. It's not something they lived in California. They brought the team to Los Angeles. Um, but it was not that they were the same owners in Minnesota and you know they moved themselves and not the whole team. They bought the team. That's
Right,
it.
right. Jerry Buss
And,
bought the team. He bought
and,
the team.
and before that, the Minneapolis Lakers were in the finals almost every time. They didn't win as much as the LA team, the LA version, but they were in the finals a lot. And what's the excuse there? But I think people were complaining a lot because now was more noticeable. Uh, and they were complaining not only about the Lakers, they were complaining about the Celtics, but the Celtics didn't win as much as the Lakers since the 80s, you know.
Right.
Uh,
They
in and I think there were other things, other breadcrumbs that were telling Lakers fans already that the Lakers were getting an unfair thing going with uh, like refs not calling plays that were obviously uh, intentional fouls and things like that. And I remember that even myself, I started to look at things that they were saying and that were reflective of the Lakers not being favored. I mean, being favored by their own efforts, but not being favored by the league. And comments here and there, and so that decision went around the end of that time where people were complaining about how the Lakers were unfair to the other teams and stuff that really you know wasn't
yeah.
true.
I,
you
I,
know
look. I don't. I can only speak for the stuff that's happened over the last 20 years, and me personally, I go back to the Showtime Lakers, but I can't really speak for what was going on per se in the media before that.
hmm
But look, I saw a meme on, I guess it was Facebook, and I guess it said the meme was NBA Finals appearances. The Lakers are, I believe, the Lakers were number one. The Celtics were number two, And LeBron James was number 3.
And
LeBron James, he's been to the finals more
than a lot of
than
teams.
most of the franchises. Look, it is what it is, man. It's nothing you can do about it. If you look at the top 20 players in the NBA of all time,
Uh-huh.
half of them were with the Lakers. What
Yeah.
can you? It's nothing you can do about. I mean, it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to watch ESPN and Fox, you would think that the Lakers and maybe the Nets and I don't know, maybe Boston, whoever, were the only teams in the league because that's how they. This is all they talk about. This is all that. I mean, they're only going to talk about teams that get them ratings. So look,
Uh-huh.
the whole point of it
Yeah.
is it ain't the Lakers' fault, man. It is what it is. Nobody wants to talk about Milwaukee. Nobody wants to talk about Utah, who's been the best team in the league. Uh, record wise, they've been the best team, but nobody wants to talk about Donovan Mitchell as an MVP candidate because he's been the best player on supposedly the best team because they've had the best record all year. They just talk about who gets them the ratings, and that's the Lakers, man. Don't hate on the Lakers because they just happen to be the team that everybody wants to talk about. I don't get
Exactly.
it. I
Exactly.
don't get it,
And
man.
let me ask something. And this is I'm telling you, but I'm asking anybody who wants to answer this question. If the if being in LA guarantees you a finals appearance or a championship, what is happening with the Clippers? They are from LA too,
Man,
right? I mean,
anyway, I mean, look, we talked about it, or maybe we didn't. When LeBron joined the Lakers, we knew stuff was going to happen that a lot of people ain't going to like. Players are going to come here because they know they sniff a championship.
uh-huh.
Look, it was a perfect example of it last offseason. Montrezl Harrell got offered $80 million to go to Charlotte, and then he decides, look, say what you want. Just because he's with the same agency, LeBron James, he's still a man. He can make his own decisions. But he turned down $80 million to come to the Lakers instead of going to Charlotte. And next year, it might be another player that turns down more money to come to the Lakers versus going elsewhere. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. And let me tell you something else. Dennis Schroeder, people think I heard people on it like you talking about on Twitter, people talking about Dennis Schroeder, oh, he's mad because the Lakers putting him in trade talks and all this other kind of stuff and he's gonna leave the Lakers. I've been watching Dennis Schroeder. I told you, he bought like $5 million house out here. He is doing photo shoots like every week. He's getting sponsorships and all that kind of stuff. He's living it up.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
he's got a YouTube channel following him around while he's with the Lakers. You think you think he's going to leave the Lakers? Hell no. He loves this kind of stuff, man. He loves
yeah,
this kind of stuff. Even his contract negotiations, they're up in the air. Who cares about a couple $1 million when he has all these other opportunities that he's already taken advantage of, man.
yeah,
People just like LA.
yeah.
What can
And
you
to
do?
tell you something, Shooter, I don't think I think he is a guy who likes to see his options, but I would be worried depending on what I want of life, but right? But I would be worried to get that contract of 20 something million because then you can swap Shooter for a player who earns that money eventually. and you can give away somebody else.
Yeah.
So the more valuable in terms of money a shooter, the more the Lakers can put him in a package for somebody really big. So I don't know if he wants to stay in LA, but if he wants to stay in LA, he got to be careful for what he's asking because he might get it, and then
Right.
it might.
That's why you see. I think the holder was Schroeder. I think the money. I mean, who knows? I don't know. But I think the money. They may be close on the money, but I think what the argument may be is over the amount of years. Because if you look at
Uh,
the Lakers contracts, anybody who goes past this season, all their contracts, Kyle Kuzma, KCP, Anthony Davis, all their contracts mirror LeBron James. So,
mhm.
we don't know. Schroeder, he might be looking for a 5-year deal. I don't know. But the Lakers may only be offering 3. And
Okay.
the reason why they're doing that is because they wanted to mirror whatever LeBron James has on the table. So they know whenever LeBron James leave, the whole slate is clean. And we could just,
Uh-huh.
start
Yeah.
over again,
Yeah. Bring.
yeah, yeah. Bring in the next superstar,
Yeah.
so that's what I don't know, but that's what I believe is probably the hold up with Dennis Schroeder. But with Dennis Schroeder, let's just see. Let's just see. AD is out, LeBron is out. Now is his time to, there's plenty of players making over 20
This
million who are
this
not
off
worth it.
season this off season also will have
Mhm.
something, and it's that some people might want to move of um area code in the same city.
We'll see.
It could be. It could be.
You said that real discreetly.
Yeah.
We'll see. These guys who you talking about, they have their options open.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. We'll see. I guess it's probably all based upon what happens in the playoffs, right?
Yeah. 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 And yeah, I mean, um, I, they are thinking of a lot of what AD, because they already signed him for uh, the number of years, 4 and 1.
And I think he has a player option or something like that in the
A
last year.
player, yeah, in the last year. Um, but obviously, if you are getting AD, you want that his player option is to stay. So I think that's one of the things they are thinking about now. But I think Schroeder, he is he's a good point guard. Um, but he's gonna need a shooting guard that he can really uh do some stuff. The other thing is something Shooter and many people are not seeing is that Taylor Horton Tucker can run an offense. He's very young still to run an offense in the
Mhm.
NBA.
He's basically still a rookie.
Exactly. But if you pay attention, he can run an offense, and he's done it before in Simeon.
Mhm. So
And
what you're basically saying is Dennis Schroeder is expendable.
yeah, yeah, he is.
You know, you know,
He is. And I know they wanted to get Kyle Lowry um, to LA, but you are gonna have I mean, there are other point guards that could take that position,
Right.
and like I said, if the Lakers are letting right now Taylor Horton Tucker to run the offense, he's making a lot of mistakes, but he's a rookie, and but he can pass. He can find the open player, and I've seen him calling the play and running. So why is he doing that? You know, who knows, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I wouldn't if I were a shooter, I would make sure the Lakers would love me.
Yeah. That's why I say, man, they haven't, as of yet, they haven't been able to come to an agreement on an extension. But I really firmly believe, like I said before, man, the guy bought a house. He has a damn YouTube channel.
Yeah,
I don't know why he does it in German. We know his background, but he's loving the LA experience. I'm telling you, man, I see him doing all this stuff off court. He don't want to leave LA. And when it comes down to it, I don't think he will. But in case like you're saying, in case he does, the Lakers have somebody, waiting in the wings.
yeah. I think it's a hard time for you to find players um, that don't like the to be a Laker. That they like most of the players that have been a Laker at any moment, they really like their experience as a
They
Laker.
like they like the whole LA experience. and
Yeah, yeah.
and uh and nowadays younger players, especially the ones who are really into social media, they're really into building their own brand.
Hmm.
Look at Kyle Kuzma. He's a perfect example. Every time you turn around, he's popping up somewhere. He's got these different sponsorships. He's dressing crazy.
Yeah, and
People,
he's
people are
talent
giving him people are
that they
giving him
love.
these clothes. People are these different designers and all that stuff. They're giving him clothes to wear to these games. There's just so many opportunities out here that
Yeah,
I'm telling you, watch. We'll see what happens with next season. But Montrez was the first example last season. He took way less money to stay here. They come to LA, and I wouldn't be surprised, man. I really wouldn't be surprised if Andre Drummond did the same thing next season. But we'll see. We'll see.
hmm. And so I saw a name. Somebody was asking about Terrence
Terrence Ross.
Ross. Is are we getting him or something? Are there rumors
There
of
were rumors at the trade deadline that the Lakers were, calling, inquiring about him, but nothing serious. We know the Magic made several. The Magic basically got rid of all their good players except Ross. But that's where that came from. There were rumors at the trade deadline that the Lakers had called and inquired about Terrence Ross, but nothing. Nothing really came of it.
so why did the Orlando Magic did that? Because they were exchanging for picks.
Well, I mean, look, we know the history of the Orlando Magic. They've transformed themselves several times since they came into the league. I mean, you remember they came into the league, um, And then, when they came into the league, they weren't too good for the first couple seasons, and then they got Shaq, and then they got Penny, Anthony Hardaway, and then all of a sudden they were good. Then
Yeah,
all of a sudden they made it to the finals, right? Did
yeah,
they go to the final? Yeah, they made it to the finals, and then and then they broke up the team. Shaq left, and Penny, got hurt, and they've transformed that team several times, and I guess this was just the latest time they just decided to blow it up again. I really can't explain that.
because Aaron Gordon, he wanted to leave, but I don't know if he wanted to leave because they were getting rid of other big players, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, man. I haven't even seen them play this year.
So that's the team we're facing today.
All
Uh,
right, right.
question mark, the question mark team.
Yeah. So look, this is absolutely a must win for the Lakers tonight
Yeah,
because the schedule upcoming is pretty tough.
yeah.
So they gotta grab this win tonight. And
Build
I
on it.
don't know I don't know about you, man, but the last couple of games I've been watching the Lakers, and they're getting better. They're adjusting to
Yeah, yeah.
playing without AD and LeBron, and
E-
I think
Even
they
in,
should have won against Philly, and then they finally beat Cleveland.
yeah, that game against Philly encouraged me because even though Philly didn't have the
Embiid, they didn't have
M-
Embiid.
Embiid, but they had
They had Ben Simmons and had everybody else.
yeah, exactly. So um I thought, with the Lakers, I didn't think they were going to win. I'm always rooting that they are going to win, even in the Nick Van Exel era. I wanted them to go to the finals and all that. I knew it was wishful thinking, but the thing is, um, that it encouraged me that even when they lost the game, it was just by the minimum.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
They almost came back. They almost pulled off the comeback.
yeah, yeah. So to me, that was encouraging because even when Kyle Kuzma, he haven't had a really perfect game, he's getting to the Kyle Kuzma, uh, 18 points per game type, Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah,
So
yeah. He just needs to be a little bit more aggressive.
yeah, yeah,
Because up until this point, when you're playing with LeBron and AD, he's learned to kind of temper his game and find
mhm.
other ways to contribute. And now the big guns are out, so now he needs to kind of switch back
Yeah.
to he needs to
He
go back to 2018, 2019 Kuzma. That's what he
yeah,
needs to do, and
yeah,
take about 20 shots a game. That's what
yeah.
I would like to see him do.
That's what If I were, I probably he does, because I don't know why he wouldn't, but I would say, if I were the coach, uh, this is your assignment. Defensively, this, and offensively, I want you to shoot 20 balls, whether you make it or not. I want you
Mhm.
to shoot 20. And I would tell Shooter, I want him to shoot 20. And we're going to make a play for him, and we're going to run that play for him to shoot it. But because right now, that's the best way to get Kuzma to be the third guy. If you want to make him the third guy in this team, this is the moment, because now he's got to be the first guy, you know. And so I don't know. Yeah, that's what I think I would do if
Yeah,
I were the coach.
yeah. I mean, this is his opportunity, and you know, he doesn't have to look over his shoulder. Other guys are not there. He has his contract, so you know, let her rip. You know, that's what I feel he should do. And but at the same time, it might be kind of hard for him to adjust because even when you see him play, sometimes when he plays and he shoots, you see him, when he takes a shot and he misses it, you see him kind of like look at the bench like, oh damn, they're gonna they're gonna pull me or whatever, whatever. But right now, like you're saying, basically, he should have the green light.
Exactly.
Yeah, he
Exactly.
should have the green light.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, at least shoot it 20 times. And if I'm the coach, I'm supposed to know where he is better shooting. So I'm supposed to know to make a play that he can get into those positions. And
Yeah,
so that's to me, that's how they should go right now. And then incorporate that, when he comes from the bench to do that kind of thing. And he usually comes for either LeBron or AD. And so he's going to have one of the two with him, usually. And he's going to have Montrez. So you can, once he's in, he needs to have a play that is for him. And whoever is controlling the basket should know that. Because once he starts shooting, then there's a whole different problem for the defense to guard the
right.
whole team. And so that's what, I don't know. That's what I think they should do right now. And
Yeah,
win games.
tonight's a perfect opportunity for him against the Magic, I
Yeah,
would think.
yeah.
But hey man, I'm here. I'm here with the kids.
All right.
Uh, I think an hour. I don't know what they're doing in there. I gotta check them.
All right, all right. Well, I'm gonna finish the show here on this
Right.
note, and
Okay. Cool.
let's see what happens tonight. All right.
Okay,
Talk to
my
you
brother. I
later.
appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. And uh, I think I think this week's gonna be a good week for the Lakers. And then now we just have to wait
And
until our guys
everybody,
get back. And then when our guys get back, and with the addition of Andre Drummond, bad news for the rest of the league. Bad news.
all right, everybody, check out LA Sports Live and Perspective Look X Lakers-fandom. Um, Subscribe and like and check out the videos. Tell us what you think in the comments, and that's it for today.
Okay, brother.
Um,
Thanks for having me, bro.
okay, you're welcome.